jump straight into our first game. It is the Dragons versus the Broncos. So the Dragons have published their team lists, and we'll take a look here. You got Dufty coming back in at fullback, Ramsey going back to the wing, welcoming back Ravalawa as well, and the surprise inclusion of Jack Bird in the second row is the standout, with the obvious exception of Jack de Belin back after nearly 3 years out of the beautiful game itself. I mean, found not guilty, so eligible to play again. As for the Broncos, Isako named a fullback. Cobo comes in to replace the absent Xavier Coates. A little bit of a move around in the pack as well as Tyson Gamble coming back into the 7 shirt. So you're going to see a new house pairing for them. You've got Kelly and Gamble there. Rabate, Bullimore, Palacia and Hetherington make up your bench again, with Asiata coming in to the 13. Obviously, no, the Broncos got a few missing on Origin duty as well. I mean, what's your initial thoughts on this one? Where's your standout matchups for this?
It's definitely a tough one. It's a tough one to look at. Obviously, bye round means there's a lot going on. The obvious standout matchup is the matchup of the spine. You have Matt Dufty going up against Jermaine Ozako, who's been lights out for Brisbane this year, probably their main attacking threat. You've also got Norman and Hunt, who are now a very established combination. A little bit surprised that Hunt isn't in the 14 for Queensland with AJ Brimson there, but I mean, it is what it is. They go up against, as you mentioned, Albert Kelly and Tyson Gamble. Gamble coming back from suspension. Kelly, great first game, not so good last week, but he makes the cut with Milford again, dropped to New South Wales Cup. It's nice to see Tessie New in the 19. I don't know whose wife he screwed or what video footage he has, but I don't know why he's not in this starting lineup and hasn't been for the last 6 weeks. Not that I think he's going to start this week. Yeah, look, interesting that Jordan Ricky coming back from suspension has been left in the 18. Kenan Palacios looked great his first couple of weeks. He retains that bench spot. Pangai Jr., I think, is going to have a field day against Josh Kerr. Kerr is a very good player in his own right, but he's not electric. I don't think he's going to be able to nullify the offloading game of Pangai. In terms of a tip, I don't think I've said it this year, but I think I'm going Broncos. Yes, it's at Nestrada. The Broncos aren't really missing anyone, though. They're not missing a major name that I can think of that isn't Payne Haas. And even then, they bring back Matt Lodge. He comes back into starting prop. Alex Glenn comes back into the 11. Tommy Flegler and John Asiata in the 13 is fantastic. He's that ball-playing 13 that I think typifies what that role is now in today's game. Yes, all eyes will be on Jack de Belin. Great that he's finally back in the NRL fold. But your thoughts on whether he's guilty, not guilty. You throw that one up in the air and you leave it there. But yeah, look, I think Broncos 1-12. I don't see it being a crazy big blowout. Ben Hunt has to step up and prove as to why he should be the 14. Anytime try scorer, I'd love to say Jack de Belin on his return. That'd be a great fairy tale story. I think more realistically, Herbie Farnworth should go up against Gerard Beale, who's not a great defender. Farnworth, I think, will be too strong and will just power over Beale. So Broncos 1-12. And the Pommy in Farnworth anytime try scorer.
Okay, I'm gonna disagree with you on this one. I think while I agree that the Broncos aren't really missing anyone for Origin this year, which it happens when you're not playing at your best. I mean, there's a reason that those players have not been picked, and it's because they are underperforming and they are quality players who are just under delivering right now. So, I mean, the Broncos have shown, dashes of brilliance here and there over the course of the year, but you've got to see more out of them. And for me, I just don't see them holding up here. I think the Dragons with Dufty at fullback are a different Dragons side altogether without him. You know, you saw Ramsey trying to do a shift at fullback, and it wasn't happening. The attack didn't quite click the way that it should. The spine wasn't working as it should. And I think it's going to be a case of former players past that are going to come back to haunt the Broncos here. You know, Hunt didn't leave the Broncos on fantastic terms. Neither did Jack Bird. You know, he had a bad run with injury, found his time on the outer with the club and said that he wasn't really supported. And now you're going to throw him into a new position, a second row. I mean, Bird's a versatile player, and I think he brings a lot more mobility to that forward pack. You already look at that Dragons forward pack. Vaughan, big man, very mobile. Laurie, just a big man. But you go Kerr, Bird, Ford, and then even down to the bench of like the likes of Alvaro and DeBellin. It's a very mobile pack from the Dragons. I think in this very sped up, enhanced game that we now play, that has the potential to maybe gas the Broncos out. So I see it being tight for maybe 50, 60 minutes, but the Dragons maybe opening this one out to a 13 plus margin in the last 25 minutes of the game. So I'm going to say Dragons 13 plus on this one. And Bird anytime. I think Bird maybe stuffs one over on his former team here.
I can't wait to rub this one into you like Ian rubbed it into you last week, mate.
You know what? If Ian's watching, thank you, lucky stars. I'm not a gambling man. If anyone was watching last week and saw Ian giving it to me over the Knights Manly game, you know, up the Knights. With that, we'll get on to our next game.